So what happens when a family's love gets tested by just pure greed? We're about to dive into the story of a sister who is pushed to her absolute limit, and the incredible, powerful decision she made to protect not just her home, but her own peace of mind. This is an explainer on a betrayal that, well, it led to a truly unbreakable defense.
Okay, so it all kicks off with this number, $15,000. But you gotta understand, for Mackenzie, a single mom working as a nurse, this wasn't just a pile of cash. Nope. This was an entire year of her life. An entire year of picking up grueling extra shifts at the hospital, pushing past total exhaustion, all to create the perfect wedding gift for her younger sister, Haley.
And that cash gift, that was really just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, look at what else she did. She was the picture-perfect, supportive older sister. She drove more than 3 hours to get there, bought a $200 dress that she really couldn't afford, and she even showed up early just to help with the decorations. She was 100% all in.
And for a little while there, it really seemed like it was all worth it. You know, watching her sister at the altar, looking so happy, Mackenzie felt this little spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, for today, they could all be a normal, happy family celebrating something wonderful. For a moment, everything was perfect.
But that perfect little bubble, it was about to get shattered into a million pieces. Over at the reception, while Mackenzie's just taking it all in, Haley walks up to her, and there's no smile, just these cold, sharp eyes. And then, loud enough for people nearby to hear, she says this. And before Mackenzie could even begin to process what her own sister just said, their mother chimes in, delivering the final, crushing blow, right there in public. It wasn't just them asking her to leave. It was a judgment on her entire life, a cruel reason that just twisted the knife even deeper.
In that moment of just profound shock, Mackenzie didn't make a scene. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just quietly put down her glass, turned around, and walked right out the door. And those unopened gifts, including that envelope stuffed with 15 grand, were still in her handbag as she left her family behind.
The very next morning, her phone rings. It's Haley. And for just a split second, Mackenzie clings to this tiny sliver of hope. Maybe this is the apology call. But she was so wrong. The family didn't want to apologize for the humiliation. They wanted the paperwork for her house.
All right, so this is where the story goes from heartbreaking to just unbelievable. How on earth could they justify this? Well, one by one, her sister, her mother, and her father all got on the phone, and their reasoning was absolutely staggering. They were arguing that the house was a waste on her, that they needed the money to pay off credit card debt, and that because they're family, she should just share. They were actually trying to paint her as selfish. It's this classic toxic family move where setting a boundary is treated like a personal attack.
So this begs the obvious question, right? Why did her family feel so incredibly entitled to a house that was legally 100% hers? To get that, we have to rewind a bit and look at the backstory of the home itself. See, the house wasn't from her parents at all. It was left to her and only her by her grandparents. They had pretty much raised Mackenzie, and they saw firsthand the blatant favoritism her parents always showed toward Haley. This house was their way of giving Mackenzie the security and stability her own parents never would. And here is the absolute kicker, the crucial legal detail that makes their demand so outrageous. The will wasn't just a suggestion, it was ironclad. Her grandparents were so smart about it, they'd even made her parents sign a legal document agreeing not to contest it. So the family had zero legal claim to this property, and they knew it. This is the turning point. After that absolutely insane phone call, Mackenzie knew this wasn't going to be a one-time thing. The pressure would never, ever stop. This was the beginning of a whole campaign. So she made a decision. She called Margaret Hayes, the very same lawyer who handled her grandparents' will, to find a permanent way out.
And the lawyer, Margaret, came up with an absolutely brilliant strategy. It wasn't about fighting them in court. It was about making a fight totally impossible. The plan was to transfer the ownership of the house into a charitable trust, but secure lifetime residency for herself and her daughter. In one move, she would make the house completely untouchable.
And this is where the story gets this beautiful, poetic justice. The very asset her greedy family was trying to snatch away would now be dedicated to a nonprofit that supports single mothers, women in the exact same situation as Mackenzie. It's perfect. So, with the documents all signed and the plan officially in motion, Mackenzie knew she had to close this horrible chapter for good. She picked up the phone and she made one final call to Haley. But this time she was the one in complete control.
She didn't yell, she didn't argue, she just calmly and firmly stated the facts. She explained that the house was now in a trust, that she and her daughter could live there for the rest of their lives, but that it could never be sold or taken away by anyone. It was done.
The reaction? Oh, it was immediate, and it was explosive. Haley's voice just erupted into this shriek of pure disbelief and rage. This wasn't the sound of a sister who felt hurt. This was the sound of someone who had just lost a winning lottery ticket.
And of course, her parents immediately jumped on the line, piling on, accusing her of disgracing the family, and making all these empty threats to sue. Their words just confirmed everything Mackenzie already knew deep down.
And what's so telling, what's so heartbreaking here, is the total lack of empathy. In all their screaming and all their threats, not one of them, not a single person paused to ask if she was okay after what they'd put her through at the wedding. Their only concern was the asset they couldn't get their hands on anymore. And that sealed it. She had made the right choice.
Hearing their selfish anger was all the confirmation she needed. Mackenzie said her final words to them, and it wasn't a request, it was a statement. This was the end of the conversation and the end of the relationship. And then she hung up, and one by one she went through her phone's contacts and blocked every single one of them. It's such a simple action, but it represented a huge door finally closing on a lifetime of toxicity. It was a final, powerful act of self-preservation.
Mackenzie's story really forces us to think about that blurry line between family loyalty and our own well-being. It's a tough, tough choice, but it ultimately asks all of us, at what point does protecting your own peace become the most important thing you can possibly do?